All right. So this is 5 out of 6 for the Maker's Mark Ohio liquor picks from this past year. I just need campfire s'mores, and I have them all.
If I can get my hands on a campfire s'mores, I will give up my firstborn.
How many times have you said you would go?
Yeah, I was gonna say you're on your 19th.
I haven't gotten any of those bottles, so I still have them currently.
Oh, you know what? He does have a point. Anyway, so this one is 1 pure, 2 cuvee, 2 46, 2 mocha, and 3 spice. So
it is caramel forward.
Very
caramel.
A little bit of cherry.
Yep, I can see that.
Oak.
A little bit.
Smells like a very caramely Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
Is this not Maker's Mark?
It is, but it's a very caramely version of it.
It is spicier on the palate. Actually, this one's very spicy. I'm not sure how.
This is surprisingly spicy for being called caramel corn.
I think the fact that we just cracked it open has a little bit to do with that.
It might.
Because you still get so much caramel on this.
You do.
You do, but it's...
And I don't, like... Calling it caramel corn is a little bit of a stretch, but I guess it's the closest thing, because the corn note I get is cornbread.
Ew.
Do you get a... Logan, do you get a cornbread note out of that?
I guess a little bit.
I kind of do, but it's
like,
not.
that's the corn note I get from it.
That's fair. The heat just really...
As opposed to the other corn note, which is...
Wow.
Children of the caramel corn.
Spoken to my
I prefer kettle corn.
Over the two,
I
would take kettle corn. I do like the caramel sweetness in this one, because this is, compared to other Maker's Mark picks, might be the most caramel forward one.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I feel like the spice that combats it kind of makes it...
Yeah, I feel like I do need to let this sit and see how it turns
Like,
out.
if there was more sweet notes to go with that caramel, I'd be all for this. But the fact that it's paired solely with spice notes makes it a little bit less appealing to me.
Yeah, it really is not what I expected. This would have been better with, like...
If there was a lot of, like, bready or, like, doughy notes, I would have liked this a lot better.
I was gonna say I'm kind of surprised that the corn notes I'm getting are more of a cornbread than like a actual like popcorn or doughy anything like that.
I can see that a little bit. It's like a very, very, very dry cornbread.
There is a ton of caramel on this though.
Yes, for sure.
Agreed.
It is all over the place. It does not go away. Like the end, the final little bit of the finish is still caramel.
I gotta say, I think that my favorites so far have been from Ohio. I mean, Brownie Sundae,
chocolate
covered almond, Winter Wassail.
Yeah, Winter Wassle's a little different also because that was the previous year.
Yeah, but that one was so brown sugar heavy
so
that
good.
I fucking adore it.
Have you tried the Winter Wassle yet?
I don't know.
It's a brown sugar bomb.
I mean, it's only 11:22. I might be willing to tack that on after this.
If you want
to try, because I
I wouldn't mind having a little sip of it either. We won't do a video on it because we did one, right?
Right. Yeah, no, we definitely did a video on it.
But yeah, I don't think I've had that one.
But I will say though, this just goes to show, because I've had some pretty hit or miss Ohio liquor picks. None of the Maker's Marks have been misses. It just goes to show that I don't think it's possible to make a miss.
It's not a miss, but it's definitely...
I mean, it's not a favorite. It's...
Yeah.
There's levels to this shit.
This is one where I give it maybe, for me personally, maybe a 7.5, but I see people giving it easily a 6.57 out of 10.
It's not bad, it's just not what I expected for it being called caramel corn, because I expected a super sweet bomb.
See, part of me thinks they call it that just because you get so much caramel the whole way across it. And then, I mean, you get that kind of cornbread note. That's probably the closest thing that you could call this.
Yeah.
And since they had kettle corn, they're like, oh, well, let's make this one caramel corn. So it makes sense to me, but it doesn't straight up taste like caramel corn.
No, not at all.
I would have been surprised if it did, personally. Because the kettle corn didn't, I mean, it was somewhat like actual kettle corn, but I mean, you still didn't drink it. It's like, oh, I would call this kettle corn. It was one of those ones where, like, you know, they name it that, and it's like, okay, I can see it.
That's fair, but I thought that we were pretty, like, whenever we tasted, we were like, we definitely get popcorn and we definitely get, like, the sweet sugar part of it. And it wasn't spicy either.
It's fair, yeah.
Like, kettle corn was definitely one of the higher end Ohio picks.
I'm still so happy that's the one out of these 6 that I have. Although I still would give my firstborn for s'mores.
I wouldn't get for s'mores. I'll try.
Dude, that trip was disappointing for me, but I'm glad it turned out well for everybody else.
I
You
know,
got the
you-
winter
you-
wassail.
Thanks, Logan.
You got the
You're
kettle corn.
looking back and you're like, you should have grabbed a winter wassail.
I'm definitely thinking that because there was 2 left.
I mean, to be fair, I had a pretty disappointing Ohio trip that basically paid out for you two with the.
Yeah, where you got the Russells and I got the Redwood Empire and the
Oh,
Electric
that's
Brick
true.
Rye.
Yeah.
Hey, they can't win for everybody.
And I don't even know what I got on that trip, but it wasn't anything great.
I don't remember what you got.
I don't either.
Yeah, that trip, I didn't even bring anything back because it wasn't anything I wanted. My dad got Amador double barrel,
I know I got
which was a
something.
perfect day because he said he got caught in the rain on his motorcycle and that it was a shitty day.
And then he comes home to a bottle of Amador Double Barrel.
No, I walk in and I'm like, I found something for you, and he's like, well, what is it? And like, we were in the backyard because like the backyard was fine after a really rainy storm. It literally blew over us. He's like, what is this? And he's like, I think I know what this is. And he opens it and he's like, that just made my day after a really shitty fucking day.
Yep.
And then he
That's how getting, honestly, any new Maker's Mark pick has been for me. It's like, when I'm at work and work fucking sucks, and it's like, oh right, but I'm trading for a Maker's pick today.
I got Old Elk weeded on that trip, which is fine, but it's nothing great.
It was my favorite Old Elk aside from the weeded pick.
That's fair. He has a point. I mean,
It's not bad. I do
personally,
enjoy it,
because
but
I'm not the biggest fan of the notes from Irish whiskey, hence why my favorite Irish whiskeys have been the ones that don't taste as much like Irish. Red Spot, Blue Spot, and the Redbreast 12 cask.
yeah. Which is also why I can't wait to try Teeling Black Pit.
Well, when I come
still try to
when I
get
when I come
spots.
into a couple extra bucks, since I know I still owe you one Maker's Mark worth.
Something like that,
I'll
yeah.
snag it for you. Because we're even for one.
Yep.
You said don't worry about the redemption weeded, so
Yep, redemption
it's
weeded.
still the one that I wasn't able to get you that
Yep.
that trade fell through.
And
So
that's whatever. Like, anything that was on that list and Black Pit was on that list, so.
yeah, I'll see what I can do. Might be a little bit still, but I can definitely get you something on that list.
Yeah.
So.
We cracked into that Russell's Reserve pick again last night. It was better.
We meaning you two or you and your
Yeah.
dad?
No, me and Amanda. We broke into it and it was
which
a little
Russell stick?
the one we tried on
The
Tuesday.
one that you did the trade
Gotcha,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, we tasted that and it was actually better if you didn't have it with other whiskeys within the night.
A lot tend to be like that because you're comparing it to ones that you end up liking more.
Mm.
And you know, like, for example, if you try 3 of your favorite Maker's Mark picks and then you try any of the ones here, any of the picks here, you're gonna be like, well, this isn't a great pick.
Right.
But if you tried any of these picks on their own, you'd probably like it a lot more.
You know, we got a ton of vanilla. She said praline, and that was like the big thing that whenever she said it really hit
I
home.
could see that.
I can definitely see that now that you say that. I still wasn't a huge fan of that, but I'm also not a huge fan of Brussels in
I was gonna
general.
say, I like that more than a lot of the Russells I've had. It's one where, like, I would have been content keeping that, but I also know you'd appreciate it more than me.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Anyway, let's bring it back to this real quick so I can end this. But this is another one of those Maker's picks that's sort of right down the middle where they use all the staves and all they do is
Not bad.
change which one's a 1 and which one's a 3.
Right.
But it's so dramatically different than the Fine Wine and Spirits pick that did a similar thing.
Yep.
Just goes to show, again, I don't think I can name 2 Maker's picks that tasted too similar to differentiate. All of them had something unique enough about it that I could point it out when I tried them.
Relative to each other, yeah, but
And I mean, they're all distinctly Makers, but they're all different.
Yep.
And that's why I'll keep collecting them because I don't know. I can't even say collecting because I don't have any unopened Maker's picks.
Correct. Yeah, that's
They
true.
are literally all open.
Mm.
It's like when I see all that whiskey, it's like, oh, it's not a collection because they're all fucking open. I drank them.
Mm.
The ones that aren't are just because I either haven't gotten around to it or have been waiting to do it in a tasting with everyone here.
Mm.
Or, in the case of 1792 single barrel, I tried it with him and I'm just waiting for the night I want to crack mine open.
Right.
But like, the few bottles I have that aren't open that I want to get rid of, I listed for trade already.
Mm.
So like, it's not even like I'm trying to just keep on to shit for whatever reason.
Right.
But anytime I get a Maker's pick, it's like when I traded with Aaron, he's like, I'll do this trade if these are going to be open and you're not going to flip them. Like, these are going to be open like the night I get them. The community and the Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends, I opened that night.
Yep.
Well, I didn't the community. I wanted to wait for a tasting because I had tried the community. But
Yeah.
the Pittsburgh Whiskey Friends, I opened that night.
Yeah.
It's like, especially with these Maker's picks. Like, yeah, I may have a fuck ton of them. Point out one that's closed. You won't.
I was saying, yeah, my shelves are the same way. If you.
The only closed ones I have are my backups.
Yep.
Same.
And they're not backups for the sake of having backups. They're backups of ones you really like.
Yep.
So that's
Mostly Fine Wine and Good Spirits. I think the Fine Wine and Good Spirits and the wood finished. Those are the only backups I have.
Maker's Marks.
Oh, and the jersey. I did buy 2 of the jersey.
Right.
Because I risked it, and I was happy I risked it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that one was definitely solid.
I would definitely try the different batch of the same pick of the Fall's Maker's Mark.
I would consider trying a different batch of both.
Mm.
I don't know how different the fall one is.
The
I
fall
do know
one,
the spring one at least is in a different month, even if it was by a day.
I wish I had actually looked at the fall. I would consider it, but
I also don't know
sure.
that I want to drop another $80 on basically another bottle.
I don't like the spring pick enough that I wouldn't be willing.
Yeah, it's not going to be that different. I don't think it's going to be nuances. It's just whether the nuances make it or break it.
Unless the good barrel was the one they put in the pint bottles, and the bad barrel they picked was put into the 750, which doesn't make sense, but that's a possibility.
Yeah, it is possible, but
Who knows?
Yeah,
it's,
I mean,
it's not
I'm willing
something.
to take a look.
because we've now tonight had makers picks from 4 different states.
Yep.
And again, none of them are ones where I'd say, oh, I wouldn't have gotten this. There are ones where I'd say, oh, I'd get this pick again if it were somewhere else because I'm sure it'll be different, which is all of these.
Mm.
But there's not one that I would be like, I wouldn't have spent the money on this.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Agreed.
Even the Fine Wine Spirit Spring one, which I think is unanimously the least favorite tonight.
Yep, for sure.
The
And
spring final-
I still don't regret having it.
Except for, I will say I think it was the wax off one for me. Just didn't do it. I like that one less than the Fine Wine Good Spirits Spring one.
Yeah, that's where we differ because
And we differed on that, yeah.
Logan and I both like that significantly.
Because that one for me smelled like Play-Doh and tasted like just fucking licking a tree.
Yeah, neither of which we got. I got a little bit of oak, but I didn't get anything crazy out of it.
It was entirely oak for me, and it smelled entirely just like fucking salty.
Here, well, when I go back,
like-
because you said you still wanted to try the, which maker's pick was it?
I don't remember.
It was,
Winter thing?
What?
it was-
Wassail or whatever?
oh, the Winter Wassail.
Winter Wassail.
Yeah, when we go back there, I'll open up that old Bardstown and let you take a sniff of that from the bottle because you want to talk about smelling like fucking Play-Doh. That's going to make you realize that did not smell like Play-Doh.
I'll smell them next to each other and see. Because to me, that just straight up smelled like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And it didn't taste good either, so I'll give
But
it
again, this is like how out of the Overholt 114, how you get cough syrup, and out of drinking it on its own, we did not get that at all.
Yeah. I will say though, the 11-year was solid.
Oh, you should try a sample.
I tried it at the Warren.
How much was it?
$10 for 1 ounce pour.
Oh,
That's not bad, yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
solid.
tried that.
Spencer's got good prices down there.
He
really
does. I will
So
say
the B-TAC can be a little high, but for Pittsburgh it's not high. But
No,
generally-
for Pittsburgh it's
We should
not.
try it. We should go there at some point. I've never been there.
Oh, it's a
Well,
great
100%.
place. How did you feel about the Warren?
Spectacular.
Yeah.
It was great. We had sushi. We tried tons of whiskey. It was great.
I was gonna say because I mean my old experience is when he took me for birthday pour George T. Stagg.
Set the standard high.
I still have to take you for a pour for your
Wayland or
birthday.
Weller.
What's that?
Wayland or Weller.
I'll take you for Weller, yeah. GTS was the one he and I were talking about before we went.
And then because I got the 1782 bottle.
Because I tried Stag 19, right?
Yes.
Yes, and is that the one he had was the 18.
18. And that one was fucking phenomenal.
The 18 was like arguably the best bourbon I ever had, and that's
Yeah,
as a not a Buffalo Trace fanatic.
Not only that,
And I am a Buffalo Trace fanatic, so.
Not only that, we had that out of a rocks glass, not a Glencairn.
Oh shit.
And it was still
That was
bourbon.
phenomenal out of a rocks glass.
Fuck.
Yeah, because if we knew we could have gotten Glencairns the first time around, we would have.
I'm surprised that like he didn't tell his bartenders if they asked for this, put it in a fucking Glencairn.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're getting, if
If he
you're
sees
getting
me now, he'd give a shit on the house.
He was there whenever we went, but he wasn't there until like halfway when we were there. So like we didn't.
Well,
get to
because
talk
he's
to
the
him.
one who poured the Johnny Drunk for us.
Correct.
That was
Yeah.
Spencer. Yeah,
Yep.
Spencer's a really cool dude.
yeah, well,
And since I hook him up
For
at
sure.
the liquor store now, when I let him know when Blanton's comes in, I put 2 on an invoice for him automatically.
Right.
Logan, when's your birthday?
January 7th.
Okay.
January, March, May.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go soon.
Anyway, yeah, caramel corn. You know,
Solid.
Caramel
Solid.
corn is,
Nice,
yeah, it's
nice.
not what I expected, but it's still good.
I give it about a 7.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
There you go.